Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, your channel on YouTube for all things PSG in English. Please subscribe. Today, the big game is upon us. Barcelona, tomorrow night. It's coming. It's coming. And so to celebrate and show like the importance of this game, I thought I'd do a little bit of a bonus video for a change. Give you a little something extra on top of the previews that I dropped earlier and that you definitely should go check out if you haven't already. I thought we'd do a little bit of a mixed 11. So, looking at the lineups and the players that we've got on both sides, which ones would feature into a combined 11. And just to add a little layer to it, given the fact that both teams have quite a few players injured, I thought I'd add the rule of only looking at the players who are actually going to be available for this game. So, no Dembele, no Doué, no Gvara, not their goalkeeper, not Balde, and so on, no Raphinha. So, sadly, quite a few players will be missing, but by God, we still have a lot of talent on the pitch. And yeah, I think it makes for a really interesting team. So I'll jump right in. The first one is a goalkeeper. And goalkeeper is actually like a relatively close one for me, I think, between Chesney and Chevalier. It's really like polar opposites. Like one is a really like strong goalkeeper who's been in world football at the highest level forever, who's, went from top club to top club, versus one who's very young, very much at the beginning of his career, who's showing a lot of potential and starting to realize this potential. And ultimately, in that context, yeah, it was a fairly close decision. I decided to give it to Chevalier. I think, like, definitely curious to hear what people think. My thinking for this one is that I have mad respect for Chesney. I think he's a great goalkeeper and someone that's often underappreciated. But at the same time, I think his level is maybe not as high as what it's been in a few years ago. And also Chevalier, like looking at last season, he was already nominated for the top goalkeeper award within the Ballon d'Or ceremony. And yeah, he's not just potential. He's really started to realize that potential. And typically I think he's got right now, like the two of them, I would say are maybe on par. And I think like Chevalier has more potential to go to the higher level and really become, a top three goalkeeper in the world kind of level, which, Chesney, for all the good he did, he never really was quite at that level. He was probably like at best top 10, I guess. So I'll give it to Chevalier. Number two, in defense. So let's start with the easy one. The fullbacks, I think, are absolute no-brainer. It's going to be Hakimi on the right and Nuno Mendes on the left. Respect for Jules Koundé, who's our right back in the French team. He's a good player. He's a solid defender who's been, progressively getting better and better in this right back position. But Hakimi is just the best there is out there, so it's not a discussion point. And on the left, Balde is not up for consideration. So, and I mean, even if he was, Nuno Mendes is just like a machine and like 4 steps ahead, honestly. So I don't think this one is really like, I don't think there's any conversation, honestly. So yeah, and then in central defense, I mixed a little bit. I went for Pacho and I went for Kubarsi. And I think Pacho, since he came to PSG last season, he's been such a big difference for us. A really meaty defender with very, very strong skills in this particular area. But also, very strong. I mean, I still can't get over the fact that he went through the whole Champions League last season without getting a yellow card. Like, for a central defender, it tells you, like, not only the talent, but, like, the fact that, he's really, like, one step above the rest. And even if, like, the beginning of the season hasn't been the best Pacho that we've ever seen, I think for this one, he remains one of the two central defenders that are likely to be on the pitch. And, next to him, I think Kubarsi... I really like Kubarsi, honestly. I think he's a generational talent in this position. He's, a guy you can grow to become like potentially the best or like one of the top 3 best defenders in the world. He's not quite at that level just yet, but I do think like out of the remaining options, is definitely the strongest one. Zabarni is not that far in absolute terms, but Zabarni, I think, is missing a little bit of experience in Champions League game, and from what we've seen, I think he's definitely got the potential to rise to the level of Kubarsi, but it's more of a question mark. And I think it will take a bit of time, and it will take the right development for him. He's been getting better and better and better since he joined PSG, but it's still a little bit early to put him over Kubarsi in my mind. So yeah, that's the defense. In midfield, number 3, I did the midfield in the shape of the PSG midfield, so with a number 6. And so that number 6 spot, I think no-brainer goes to Vitinha. Third in the Ballon d'Or, and a player who keeps impressing every game. Is the maestro, the orchestra conductor of the PSG orchestra, and the guy who dictates the pace of the game, dictates the tempo of the midfield, is there to get ball backs, to win ball backs, strong positioning, and then the symphony begins. And the passing, the moving, the running with the ball, the cover, and how hard it is to get a ball off of him, the calm under pressure, and the vision of the game. I mean, it's just all my love for Vitinha forever and ever, and I think one of, if not the best midfielder in the world right now, and so he's gonna be in this mixed 11. Ahead of him on the left, as much as I love Fabian Ruiz, I'm giving it to Pedri. I think Pedri is really cut from the same cloth as Vitinha, in terms of really a generational midfielder talent, and he's been more consistent for the past year and a half. He's really came into his own. The partnership with De Jong has taken him to great height. He's bossing the Barcelona midfield. It was probably second only to PSG's midfield. And yeah, he's a midfield player who can do it all. He can get balls back. He can be physical. He can read the game in defense and cut the opponent's attacks before they even start. But he can also organize the game. He's got mad passing quality, mad passing quality. Vision of the game is excellent. Yeah, he's a full package. And I think he as much as I love Fabian Ruiz, he's just one step above. Then the third one is one where I struggled, honestly, a little bit. I gave it to Joao Neves over Frankie de Jong. And I think, it's very close. It's very, very close. I think I give it to Joao Neves because I think in the end, Joao Neves is just more mobile and covers more ground than than Frankie de Jong. And so in this context where you already have two players who are really magicians with the passing and with the ball, you do need a player who can really balance out the spaces and do the tough job of covering, of getting balls back, of cutting offenses. And even if De Jong can completely do this, yeah, I do think Joao Neves covers more ground and gives more depth to the midfield in terms of area of exposure and of cover. And so for that reason, I give it to him. I've got to be honest, though, given the fact that he's coming back from injury and that his fitness is not completely assured at this point, if I'm actually putting together a starting 11 for the game tomorrow, I probably put De Jong over him just because De Jong is at peak fitness. But I excluded the players who were injured, but I didn't take the actual exact fitness that the players are in right now into account when creating the mixed 11. So that's the caveat. If you think I should have, then put De Jong instead of Joao Neves, and let me know in the comment what you think about this. And then I think 4 in attack, fourth line. I'll start with the very obvious one. So obviously we're picking Kangin Lee instead of Yamal. Can you imagine how to kill your football channel? Yeah, I think Kangin Lee is just better than Yamal, man. No, we're picking Lamine Yamal, no question on the right. He's one step, like 4 steps above anything we've got to offer. So it's going to be Lamine Yamal. And then on the left, Marcus Rashford is doing really well this season. He's had a great start to his Barcelona career. But let's be honest, I think Barcola is also like one step above him. Not as far a difference between Kangin and Lamine Yamal, but still, like, yeah, I do think Barcola has just that little bit more talent. I think he's more decisive. He's a player that ended up the last season with more than 20 goals, more than 20 assists. Just that I don't think we fully realize how insane it is, because Barcola, he does this, and at the same time, he manages to very clearly show us that he can still do better than that. And it's absolutely insane. And I think, in a game like the one that we're going to have tomorrow, I know that at some point, like, there's going to be spaces to run into. There's going to be opportunities for player to take runs at the defense, to go for the impossible dribble, to create something and make a difference in a way that's very unexpected, unforeseen, and kind of never seen before. And I think in that context, like, Barcola has this little twist of excitement, of unpredictability, that maybe Rashford doesn't have as much. Rashford, you kind of know that chances are like 90% of the time he's going to come back, cut through on the inside, come back on his right foot, and try to put in a shot. Barcola, he can go left, he can go right, he can go in the middle, he can dribble, he can pass, he can shoot. Like, there's really no telling. So that's why I'll give it to him. And then the last position, I struggled a little bit, because, like, well, first, like, it goes to a Barcelona player, because I think, like, as much as I love Mayulu, like, he's not quite yet at the level that we're at. At least, like, we don't have the assurance that he is just yet. And Ramos, for obvious reason, like, I don't think he features. And so the question becomes, like, on the Barcelona side, who do they prefer between Ferran Torres and Lewandowski? Personally, I go for Lewandowski, because I think even if he's getting on in age and he's not necessarily as sharp as he used to, he's like for all of his career, for everything that he's done, and for the players that he still is. I mean, he's still a lethal number 9 who can score crazy amount of goal. You can imagine with, like, Lewandowski up front, with Yamal on the right, with Pedri and Vitinha behind him, and, like, Barcola. That's a version of Lewandowski that even at 37, 38 years old, like, he could easily score 45 goals in a season with a team like this behind him. So I'll give it to him. And yeah, like, I think ultimately it's just a more interesting players to have right now. So this is what I've got for you guys. To sum up, Chevalier in goal, defense left to right, Nuno Mendes, Pacho, Kubarsi, and Hakimi, a midfield 3 of Vitinha, Pedri, and João Neves, and Barcola on the left, Lamine Yamal on the right, and Lewandowski up front. And, boy, there's going to be talent on this pitch tomorrow night. Boy, it's going to be a big game. I still managed to put more PSG players than Barcelona players. But, like I said in the preview, I think it's going to be a really tough game, like, with a lot of different battles to play on the pitch. So definitely encourage you to go see this one if you haven't yet. And in the meantime, like, please drop a like on this video if you made it this far. Let me know in the comment what you think of my 11. Is there anyone that you would have, picked differently, or any places where you don't agree with me? Let me know on João Neves versus De Jong. Let me know on Lewandowski up front. Let me know about Yamal versus Kangin Lee. Big debate there. And as always, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, do all of these things, and don't forget, ici c'est Paris!